Hey, I'm Randy, and you're watching The Cheap Audio Man. Here at The Cheap Audio Man, we talk about high-value hi-fi, home theater, and headphone equipment. And today, I've never, ever had a company do this. So sit down and grab a cup of coffee, and let's talk about why more companies should do what this company did. A big thank you to today's sponsor, Exter. They sell little wallets and stuff. And frankly, I've been using one for about the last month and it's awesome. But more about them later. Today, right now, we're talking about the Fosi Audio TB, what is it? 10D as in Delta, the upgraded version. I did a video on the precursor, the first generation of this, and quite frankly was astonished at how bad it was. And I said as much in the review. So this is where I was completely surprised and taken aback. Fosi Audio, watched the video. They never sent me that product. I bought that product off Amazon. Did the review, put it up because I don't think anybody should have bought that first product. I was very optimistic about this product, the first generation, because it has the Texas Instruments 3255 amp chip. And that's a great sounding amp chip if it's implemented correctly. I had never seen one that was at this price with tone controls. So I got really excited. Well, I got the first generation, listened to it, noise. The tone controls were so heavy-handed that it didn't sound good at all. It was not a good amplifier, not a good product. So generally when I do a video like that, that's overwhelmingly negative, the companies get mad. Sometimes even a little bit of criticism, companies get a bit upset. Not gonna name any names, hi-fi, but sometimes when you give somebody a lackluster review, they get really defensive. However, I'm gonna be honest. Sometimes I'm a little bit more diplomatic with how I handle criticism with a specific product, but the experience I had with another company just led me to, hey, I'm gonna say what I wanna say. I'm going to be completely honest, and if they don't like it, they don't like it. So when I gave this product a very negative review, and deservedly so, I mean, I don't really care, because there's a bunch of other products out there that sound pretty good. So when they reached out to me and said, we get it, we updated a whole bunch of stuff. Would you be willing to do another review? Or they didn't even ask for a review. They asked for me to listen to it and give them my impressions. And we're going to talk about it after this word from our sponsor. Exter wallets. They're these little kind of flat wallets. You can see this one's getting a bit dirty. And then you press it and then all your cards come out. This is the carbon fiber version. This is the one that I've been using every day for, well, since I got them. So probably we're going on 6 weeks now. And I got to tell you, I love this thing. Not having to worry about a large chunk of cow skin in my right rear pocket has been somewhat liberating. You know what else is cool about Exter? You get one of these little things. This is actually a location device. So what you do is you would stick one of these in your Exter wallet. And if you misplace your wallet, young people partying all the time, you can pull up an app on your phone and locate your wallet. That's pretty useful. So right now, Exter is running their fall sale and you get 20% off. So go over to shop.exter.com/cheapaudioman to check out all their cool wallets. They do have some more, what I would consider to be traditional wallets, but fundamentally the core thing in their wallets is all the same. I gotta tell you, I am a convert and I absolutely love these Exter wallets. So go over to shop.exter.com/cheapaudioman to check out all their cool wallets. So let's go over the Fosi Audio TB10D as in Delta. On the front, very simple. One toggle switch right here for the power. Volume knob right here, and they have definitely improved upon whatever pot they were using because this volume pot is silky smooth. The thing that I am probably the most excited about outside of them fixing the noise issue are the tone controls right here. because the first generation was so heavy-handed that even the slightest movement of this, I don't know how many dB of throw they had on the first one. I just know that it wasn't natural and really was pretty much unusable, because I don't know if it was introducing noise. I don't know if it was introducing so much gain or cut that it didn't sound good, but whatever the reason, the tone controls on the previous generation were fundamentally unusable. These, there's a lot more fine tuning. So, and there isn't a ton of boost or cut, but from my ear, it feels like maybe there's 3 dB, maybe up to 5 dB on either side of 0. Now, you don't know what 0 is because there's nothing that clicks these in, but the pots are very smooth, and I was able to dial in a very nice sound signature and tweak that sound signature. I was listening to this amp mostly on the 80th edition of the Wharfdale Denton. And if I wanted to warm it up a bit, I cut down the treble, maybe increased the bass a little bit. Whatever change they made to the tone controls was fantastic. And this amp right now is $80 on Amazon. And I think there's even an $8 coupon. So for less than $80, you're getting an amp that has a 3255 Texas Instruments amp chip, which is used in the IEMA A07, one of my favorite amps. Also used in the Topping PA5, which I think is a $250 amplifier. And it sounds awful similar to the Topping PA5. Let's talk about power. From a power perspective, the 3255 Ti chipset amps, it's a mouthful, have a really ridiculous power rating. However, that is with a 48 volt 10 amp power supply. So this chip can handle a ton of power, and it will put out a ton of power with the right power supply. The power supply that comes with this one stock is 32 volt 5 amp, which in most cases for 97, 8, 9% of people is going to be just fine. With that power supply, I think one is getting around 50 watts into 8 ohms, probably about 60 or 70 watts into 4 ohms, less than 1% THD. Here's the cool thing about this amp though, is if you need more power, you can get more power out of it by getting a larger power supply. However, not all power supplies are created equally. The IEMA 48 volt power supply was a bit noisy. I didn't really care for it. So if you're looking to get more juice out of this little thing, you're gonna have to probably do some research about which power supplies are going to work best for this. The takeaway here is that the 3255 chip can provide more power than probably anyone really needs. And even the stock 32 volt power supply is going to give most people exactly what they need. Let's talk about how this thing sounds. If you're a fan of the channel and you've watched any of my previous videos, you probably know that I, personally, am a big fan of any amp that uses the 3255 chipset from TI. Most of those amps do a good job of integrating that chipset. However, the previous generation, or the first generation of the Fosi Audio TB10D, as in Delta, was not good. It sounded okay, but the tone controls, the noisy power supply was a no-go for me. This one sounds to me more similar to the PA5 from Topping than the IEMA A07. IEMA A07 a little bit more robust on the bottom end. However, when you change the op amps on the IEMA A07 to something like the Sparkos Labs op amps, start to sound a little bit like this. I don't know what op amps are in here. I don't know if you can swap them either easily. Technically, you can change out any op amps, but some products are going to be a bit more difficult to do that than others. As it sits, this thing is detailed, clean. Soundstage and imaging is wide, big. Whatever power supply they chose for this one, very good. Very good. I'm really impressed. To my ear, this sounds similar to the Akatika PT 102, which is a kit amp, but it's a very good kit amp. And I think they're going to start building them again. Is it better than the IEMA A07? I don't know. That's hard to say. A little bit of a different sound signature. I think this one's a bit cleaner. The A07 has a little bit more functionality because on the back of this one, it's just an RCA input and then 2 speaker outputs. And then whoop, whoop, power input right there. The A07 has a 3.5 millimeter output jack here. So you could hook up a subwoofer to the A07. So what you're getting with the Fozzie is tone controls and I think a little bit cleaner sound. What you're getting with the IEMA is the option to roll the op amps very easily. Also a 3.5 millimeter output that you could use to connect to a subwoofer. And then you would control overall volume on the IEMA. You don't have that option here. However, if you have a subwoofer with speaker level inputs, you can just take a line off of the speaker jacks here and then right into the subwoofer. So there's a little bit of a different functionality, but technically speaking, you can put a subwoofer on the Fozzie. You can't really put tone controls on the IEMA unless you're putting an EQ or something like that in line. I think there's a ton to like here on this Fosi Audio, and kudos to them for upgrading this thing. Kudos to them for reaching out to me and being like cool about it, not getting defensive. I think more companies should do that because I do this for everybody. Like I want to find the best deals that I can for people starting out in hi-fi, or if somebody just doesn't have a ton of money and they want a great system. So I'm still kind of surprised that Fosi Audio did this. It's a great sounding amplifier. It does have tone controls, and those tone controls are not heavy-handed anymore. The quality of the pots is really good. Functionally, it's great. I have nothing to complain about. At $72, which is what the coupon gives you right now, $72 for a 3255 amp. $72 for an amp that sounds fantastic. So good for a Class D amplifier. You can upgrade it to get more power. Nothing to complain about. Absolutely nothing. 10 out of 10. Great job, Fosi Audio. I am super impressed. So if you want to support the channel, you can sign up for Patreon, patreon.com/cheapaudioman. Every Sunday night with Patreon-only Zooms, Patreon-only Discord, Patreon-only Facebook group. You can also use the affiliate links in the description. If you click and you buy, I do get a commission, but it doesn't cost you anymore. $72 for a desktop amplifier. That's crazy. You can also sign up for Amazon Music or Tidal Music. Links in the description. Click on the link, sign up. Even if you cancel, I get a couple of bucks. So don't binge watch anything on Netflix or Hulu. Binge listen through your Fosi Audio TB10D as in Delta and fill your soul with happiness for $72. And with that, I'm Randy. I'm the Cheap Audio Man.